Hello, welcome to season 2 of the Sacred Soul Sisters podcast. Oh my goodness, we are in 2026 and I have never been more ready for this year. Oh my gosh, the year of the fire horse. Well, welcome before we get too far ahead. Welcome to the Sacred Soul Sisters podcast, a sacred space created for awesome souls who have spent years caring, giving, leading, and holding it all together, and are now feeling the quiet call to return to themselves. However, that call may be just getting a little louder this year. I'm Justina. I'm a Reiki master teacher, healer, nurse for over 20 years, transformational speaker, retreat leader, workshop leader, and this podcast is an invitation to you to allow your inner soul to slow down, soften, receive, and remember who you are beneath those roles and responsibilities and expectations that you've been carrying, but also to ignite the fire within you, to remind you how awesome you are. I'm so happy you're here. So here we talk about real healing, not the bypassing kind, but the kind that meets you exactly where you are. We explore energy, spirituality, emotional release, nervous system regulation, divine support, and what it truly means to live in alignment with your soul while navigating this crazy real life, right? So you'll hear heartfelt conversations, intuitive teachings, gentle practices, and soul-led interviews. They're all designed to help you clear energetic blocks, reconnect with your inner wisdom, and reclaim your vitality without guilt or burnout. Right? Like we are done. We are done messing around. I am so fired up about this year of 2026, and I cannot wait to hang with you this year. So thank you so much for being here. This is the place where you don't have to have it all figured out, but it is the place where your strength is remembered, your light is reawakened. And if this resonates with you, I would love for you to follow the show. Please leave a review. It helps the message reach so many more individuals that need it at this time. You can also visit my website at angelreikijourney.com, scroll to the bottom, sign up for the newsletter to receive soulful updates, upcoming offers, gentle reminders that you are never alone in this path. Come connect with me on Instagram at Angel Reiki Journey and join the conversation, or you can find me on LinkedIn, where I share reflections, teachings, and ways to bring this work into your life and leadership. You weren't ever meant to do this alone. You belong here. And I'm so glad you are here. So take a breath and welcome to the Sacred Soul Sisters podcast. Welcome back, beautiful souls, to another episode of the Sacred Soul Sisters podcast. I'm your host, Justina, Angel Reiki practitioner, registered nurse, intuitive channel, and guide for women who are ready to return to themselves, to their truth, their light, and their divine inner wisdom. But today I have such an incredible special guest joining us. This is someone whose story, her presence, and her depth of wisdom will touch you in the most heartfelt and expansive way. Radhika was raised in India, surrounded by yoga, consciousness, ancestral wisdom, and her path has woven together ancient philosophy, modern science, holistic nutrition, and human potential in the most beautiful way. Her journey from high-stress corporate life into deep alignment and healing is one that so many of us will see a piece of ourselves in. What I love so much about her is that she embodies the bridge between worlds, the ancient and the modern, the scientific and the spiritual, the structured and the intuitive. She guides women out of survival mode and into lives of nourishment, alignment, freedom, and abundance. And she does it in a way that feels grounded, heart-centered, and spiritually rich. So I invite you to take a deep breath, drop your shoulders, soften your heart, because this conversation is a homecoming to your well-being, your intuition, your body, and your true self. Let's welcome this beautiful guest to the Sacred Soul Sisters podcast. Welcome.
Thank you, Justina. Thank you for that lovely introduction.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Grateful to be here with you.
I am so glad. It's incredible. So, if you can introduce just a little bit about how you came into this world. So, you grew up in India, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And kind of what was your journey there that led you into your journey here over in the United States?
Sure. I grew up in Mumbai, India, and I guess the story of how I came to do the work that I do was my mom got diagnosed with an illness, cancer specifically, and I had it sort of like this intuitive calling from source that I need to go and get some books and read, get knowledge about how I can support her journey through chemo from, like holistic ways. Um, and so I started reading about nutrition and detoxification and all of that. And so I helped her while she was, going through chemo with like the diet and nutrition so that she has anti-inflammatory foods and drinks and herbs and all of those things also supporting her treatment. Eventually, long story short, I did lose her in that journey of battling that disease, and I was very close to her, so obviously it was a grief that I had not experienced before. I went back to my roots. I had moved at that point from another city in the US to Austin, and that's where I was living. So I decided to go and study yoga teacher training. And once it was serving me to, get through move my grief, I decided to become a teacher and offer it to others. And then at that point, I also then wanted to go deeper into this work and decided to go and study nutrition and health coaching and like figure out the pieces, like what else besides the nutrition? What is the connection between the mind, the body, the spiritual consciousness, like how are all these connected, and what is happening in the mind that affects the body, and how is disease happening, and what is manifesting because of our thoughts and emotions. It's not, wellness is not just what we eat or how we show up. It's like what is happening in the mind also, right? So I wanted to get deep into that wisdom, and that is how I formed my eventually, my offering to the world, specifically women, which is like I took all the pieces of wisdom that I had grown up with in India, which was, the yoga consciousness that I grew up, like as we were talking earlier, without awareness. I went back and studied it, and then started offering that as mentoring and coaching to women. And then I moved to the US at that point in 2005. At that point, I moved for, you know, I was getting married to my ex-husband now, and that was another journey. And here I am today. He was the catalyst to get me here, but yeah.
Yeah, isn't it Rumi that says the wounds are where the light gets in? You know, it's crazy the things that we endure in these lifetimes, and when you're going through it, it is, oh, it's so terrible. But from that grows these beautiful opportunities for us for growth and for us to be able to lead other people. I'm getting goosebumps even thinking about it. So you followed your path very beautifully. And I kind of want to take us back to, so when you first moved over here, um, now had you like done a ton of yoga prior to wanting to learn about it? Like, was that something you've been doing your whole life? And then you decided you wanted to take the course? And also, shout out to Austin. I'm assuming you're talking Austin, Texas, because that's
Yeah.
one of my favorite places on earth, the whole suburbs, everything. Oh my gosh. It's a really cute Crystal shop. Crystal works in Austin too. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
hello, Justina here. I am interrupting for just a moment for an emergency broadcast situation. Oh, no, okay, not emergency broadcast, but I'm so excited to tell you about this. Okay, listen, we've got this vision board workshop, not just a vision board workshop. Okay, this is not like your ordinary thing. It's 2 hours, okay, live facilitation. It's February 1st, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. No, I'm not going to teach you how to cut a piece of paper and how to glue. You know how to do those things, right? This is an empowerment meditation. You're going to have an energetic activation. It's going to be a Reiki infused session of holding sacred space. We're going to talk about the energy of 2026, the fire horse. You are going to have your manifestation work going, your vision board creation. You can bring a poster board, you can have a piece of paper, you can use one crayon if you want to, you can have markers, you can have magazines and scissors and glue, or you can pull up Canva and make an electronic vision board. The majority of this is really about community, coming in sacred space, igniting each one of our inner lights, and getting super excited about what this year has to offer. Because I don't know about you, but 2025 was kind of a shit show. So I can't wait to see you. Log in to the link that will be in the show notes. It will also be on angelreikijourney.com. And it's advertised on my Instagram and my LinkedIn as well. And I can't wait to see you. Remember, February 1st, 6 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on Zoom. Yay! Back to our episode.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I lived there for about almost 10 years. So,
Oh, the food is so good. Anyway, but yes. So did you like know everything about yoga for your whole life and you were like, I want to now be a teacher? How did that come about?
yeah, so there were two pieces. One is the embodied lifestyle, right? There's yoga is not just the physical practice, it's mostly the philosophy. So I grew up with the philosophy, right? I mean, that's just the way of living. It's not something that you can spell out, but it's just like how, it's the wisdom that is like born from like the cultural wisdom. That's just how people show up. Like when you go to their houses, the way they treat you as a guest, there's like the philosophy pieces in terms of like how you have a deeper purpose in life and how you have the service orientation mindset, or how you treat other people from a place of grace and gratitude and compassion. So all of those pieces were just ingrained in my upbringing, right? And that's all the wisdom from the philosophy. And then I guess I would have to give credit to my parents because they enrolled me in these Sanskrit classes to learn the wisdom from, similar to Bible, there's a text called the Bhagavad Gita. So I would learn that wisdom in the weekends as a child. They also sent me to, while my friends were going for swim camps and sports camp, I was going to a yoga school for a yoga camp. And now, as I know, it's the oldest yoga school in the world. Um, Still existing in Mumbai. So yeah, that those are my earliest memories. And then I also remember coming back to ancient wisdoms like Ayurveda, which is the sister science of yoga about healing. My grandmother, she would have all these, herbs in her pantry. So I grew up like all around that, but it's only when I came here that I was like putting all the pieces together. Oh, now this makes sense. So
Go back. Okay, so you had kind of had the embodiment already of the yoga philosophy. You come over here, you are feeling drawn to look into learning and going to the teaching of yoga. And I believe you said it's hatha yoga that you went to. I didn't realize there were so many different technical names for different types of yoga. Is that correct?
yeah, I mean it's essentially when you're doing the yoga teacher training, it's you just have, hatha yoga is the main, but it's not just a kind of yoga, it's more of the philosophy around it. And
Okay.
that's the same. Yeah.
Okay. And then during the time that you're taking these courses, was this the time that you were also getting married? Like you
Yeah,
were,
I was already married. I had a child as well. I had a daughter. Yeah. She was probably like 2 years old at that point.
okay. And did you kind of, what was your thought process during this time? Like you've lost your mom, you're a mom now, you've got this child, you have this spouse, you're here learning about things that probably are starting to seem very familiar that you feel like is sort of a remembrance to you.
Mhm.
Did it bring you a sense of peace taking the training?
Yeah, for sure. Because like I said, when I lost her, I started going to this yoga school in Austin like twice a day. It was almost like a catharsis for me. I would move my body, cry, moving the grief, you know. So it was a very natural evolution transition that I would want to become a teacher because it was doing so much for me from the mind body perspective and moving the grief and
Oh, I love
moving the
that.
emotions.
I love that. That's so beautiful. And wouldn't it be amazing if that was kind of like the prescription that we would get after we lose someone so important to us versus, hey, go ahead and take like three more pills a day, just to try to like hide all of your grief, you know. I mean, like
Yeah,
if they told you to do something like this, like, wow.
right.
Anyway,
Yeah, I just follow, I think till date. There are times I haven't, and I write about that in my book, but I just follow my intuition. And I've noticed when I do, it's like, it always works out.
yes, we are
I,
always guided.
when I don't, there are
Yeah.
some lessons, some hard lessons, but it does work out eventually.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. I talk often about how I tend to argue with spirit. I'm not sure why I do that because logically, I'm very aware that they have my best intentions at heart. But sometimes I get my ego involved and I'm like, well, no, I know best. No, I want to do this instead. And yeah, I learned the hard way sometimes. But so you later studied at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition and Human Potential Coaching. How do you feel like modern science and biohacking complement what you had already known from ancient philosophies?
So I think that the health coaching helped me sort of understand that it's not just nutrition, right? It's also like the people that you surround yourself with, your mindset, and all those things play maybe a bigger role in your wellness. And the biohacking, I would say, made me realize that this is what ancient wisdom always told us. That is, what is suitable for one person, like you, might not be suitable for me, so what is suitable for a woman because her hormones and her body is different is not the same that a man would need to eat, or the lifestyle that the man follows. And that is something what Ayurveda always has taught us, that every individual is unique, and the concept of like the bio individuality. So yeah, it was all connected to what ancient wisdoms have been telling us for so many years.
Wow. It's crazy. Yeah. In my world, I still do nursing, PRN, and I have conversations all of the time where, a doctor will say, no, I'm giving her this medicine for this problem. It it should be doing its job. We just need to keep increasing it. And my, rebuttal is, okay, I understand that this medicine is supposed to be for this specific thing, but sometimes people are different, and sometimes their chemistry is different, sometimes their biology is different, sometimes it doesn't always necessarily mean we just keep increasing till we get to like 1,000 milligrams of something. Maybe it's not the right medicine for someone,
Yeah,
maybe there's a different way, right?
exactly. Mhm.
It's crazy. I keep saying like it feels like the universe is really trying to get back to this so much more, and there's still so many people that aren't aware of all of these things. So can you explain to me what Ayurveda is, and with that, um what does it mean to talk about like primary food, like, because I'm sure it's a new concept to people here.
So Ayurveda is basically, it translates literally to the science of life. And a primary food is a concept I learned in health coaching, which is what I was saying, that it's not just what you eat, but it's your thoughts, emotions, and what you take in from the environment that, also shifts the needle on your wellness. But Ayurveda is basically going back to Ayurveda, which is an ancient Indian healing science, more than 5,000 years old, has always, and it was far, passed down through like these meditative rishis and, sages who got this knowledge from nature essentially. But how I use it is not in the way, the pharmacological way, like, the medicinal and herbal way, but more as using it as a lens to share the wisdom, which is very intuitive. And it's basically about aligning your life with the wisdom from the nature. And so yeah, so Ayurveda in a way could say is alignment with the intelligence of nature. And with the seasonal cycles. For example, now it's almost like it's winter, right? So when we look outside, fall transitioning to winter, what do we see? We're seeing like everything is going to sleep. There's an hibernation going down. There is a slowdown going on in nature, right? And because it's cooler, it's asking us to stay warm. So these are the things that we can just take in from nature. So the principles, there are some basic principles in Ayurveda is that um, like increases like. So if it's cold and you take in cold foods, you're gonna feel more cold. So what do? You counterbalance with the opposite, right? So it's again, it's just so simple. The the wisdom is very simple. And how do you stay in a place of homeostasis? By counterbalancing. So if you want to feel more cold, obviously you will do those things, but counterintuitively, you want to stay warm and nourished. So, what are the foods you're going to eat in winter? You're going to have warm, brothy soups
Mm,
and stews. You're not going to have ice, because what's that's going to do to your digestive system? Especially in winter, it needs to be warm and moist. So that is another thing that Ayurveda says, that our bodies has evolved as being like anything that inside of us has been evolved to be warm and moist. And when we add anything in our body, which is like, I've seen when I moved to the US, I saw everywhere they offer you ice water. And that is like just blocking your, digestion, because it's killing the fire that's needed to metabolize the food and the nutrition. So you want to like think about what can I do so that my body remains warm and moist, like whether it's putting oils or whether it's taking in warmer foods, drinking warm drinks. So that is like the really simple, wisdom that um, whether it's like seasonal and cyclical living from the nature, or whether it's like the foods that you eat, what do you do to your your like taking care of your body, then morning rituals, night rituals, all are these things like Ayurveda has specific rituals for the entire day based on the timing of the day, how that will work to, maximize your efficiency and how you show up for yourself and for others.
I love that so much. And when you say it out loud and when I hear it out loud, it makes total sense. But but like so many people, we don't even take a second to think about that. You're right. Everywhere you go, the very first thing you're offered is ice water. Like
Yeah.
everybody gets ice water. It doesn't matter if it's 2 degrees outside or it's 900 degrees.
Yeah.
Um, that's very interesting. And a couple years ago, I had some people that I worked with that were really giving me a hard time because I started drinking like hot water. And I was even confused by it, to be honest. I was like, what is wrong with me? And everybody was like, you're so weird. But now looking back, I'm like, wow, no, I was just like actually listening to what my body needed at that time. Right.
Mhm.
So it's incredible that if we just instituted these beautiful, you know, um, ideas and when you go to that place, when you think of memories of when it's cold outside and grandma's made like a really warm stew or warm soup, I mean, just the feeling that you get in your whole body to think about that, that should also be like a reminder. Like, if it feels that good, there's a reason, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So it
Yeah,
sounds like, oh, go ahead.
no, I was just wanting to say that it also like teaches us, like a lot of people are not aware, right, about how do they feel when they eat or drink certain foods. So it
Yes.
teaches us awareness. So when I was saying like increases like, it's like whatever qualities we engage, it's not just food, right? Even thoughts,
Right.
emotions, the environment, whatever we're taking in, what people we're surrounding ourselves with, what you're watching, it just amplifies. So in cold weather, there's and in Ayurveda there are these body types, if you will, which describe, like, like vata is one of them, which describes like how the person can feel during the season. Like even the season has a quality which is vata, which is like more like airy and space. And so you want to feel grounded. So if you are going to have cold foods and or something like popcorn, it's going to just increase, amplify that quality. And you don't want to amplify that quality because then you get overwhelmed. It affects your emotions. How do you ground yourself? So what do you do with the opposite? So it's just building your capacity to get more intuitive about how you want to feel, and
Mhm.
whatever you take in, then so you want to restore the balance, the opposite, invite the opposite quality. And then just going back to the principles, the third principle is that so one is like increases like, opposites balance. So if there's too much heat or too much cool, you add the opposite. If there's too much stillness, add more movement, right? And you're feeling, let's say like in winter, we tend to feel a little more like lethargic, and we want to
Mhm.
sort of feel that because that's the quality in the nature. Like you want to like hibernate, introspect, sit by the fireplace, warm cup of
Mm.
journal.
Soft blanket.
But what happens is that we have Christmas, we have all these holidays, and we have like the tendency to like go out and like, shop and like enjoy and all of that. But your body doesn't have the capacity to endure that because it's wanting to rest. So we want to listen to that wisdom from the nature and like balance it a little bit. Because then we go out of homeostasis, then we get sick, and then we get overwhelmed, and it's also affecting our. And then the last quality is like what happens in the microcosm affects the macrocosm and vice versa. So everything is connected. So if you say, some people say, oh, it's, I don't want to be involved with politics, but everything is political. Everything is connected. Like if something's happening in some part of the world where, people are dying or whatever, you can't do anything about it, but you can, through your thoughts and emotions, you can send good energy because
Yeah.
you're not you're not disconnected from that energy. It's all coming back to you. So when people say this is just my world, I'm just going to look at my family and my work colleagues and that's it, then that's just making you a very individualistic person. So I think Ayurveda, the ancient wisdom, also reminds us that everything is related to the collective consciousness. So you're not just trying to build your wellness and your capacity to be thriving and, in this time of world that we're living in, but it's also because it's affecting the macro and vice versa. The macro is affecting us. And so, yeah, that's,
I I
that's the way.
love that so much. I say that all the time. It's when I talk to people about healing, how important it is to do your own healing. And it's not just important for you, it's important for everyone. The more healing you do for you and the more that you're able to get your own self in alignment, it does make things flow beautifully, and it does assist you to be in homeostasis, but it also has this beautiful effect on your surroundings,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And so you can see when people work in really, really high stress corporate environments, and they have, 80 holiday parties a week in the month of December, and let alone they've got to meet all their end of the year quotes and this and that, and they have their own families, and they probably have a family member that's not doing great at that time of year. Like there's all these different things going on. So you can see, right, how someone could pretty easily get out of homeostasis.
Yeah, exactly.
And did you work in some type of corporate environment too at some
Yeah,
point?
I did before I started doing the work that I was doing. I was doing executive search, which is like hiring C-level executives for companies. So yeah, I did notice that pace. The pace is so fast where people just become unconscious and unaware.
Yes.
I mean, you see, you do Reiki and energy work. You probably realize that they're so closed in their channels of energy. Sometimes are so closed because they're just getting up and doing the same thing every day without an intention or
Yes.
behind it. Not everyone, but I'm saying that
Sure.
the environment encourages that because it's not related to, oh, you should have this much time in the morning before you start your morning call
Yes.
to sort of ground yourself and see what you can do. Starting your day from a place of intention and groundedness rather than like, oh, just get into it. So I think the capitalist culture and just the corporate culture is not very conducive for people to get intentional and conscious about having that awareness.
Yes.
Yeah.
They kind of promote a robotic form, right? Like, we just want you to do this, this, and this. We don't care how you get there or if you die in the process.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's interesting. So doing some of my review of your history and stuff, it sounds like you come from a lineage of wonderful wisdom keepers, ancestors, that are incredible. You talk about some of your stuff with your grandmother and the way, I think she used to work with herbs maybe, and how she provided nourishment, your mother, her devotion, um, your father with like grounding practices. Do you feel like there are any specifics of each of them that stand out to you that you feel like you've brought into your adult life that's assisted you?
Yeah, sure. I think again, like of course when you're like moving through those as you're growing up, you don't realize that it comes back to you later in the later years. More so when I was even writing my book. So like my grandmother, I remember the memories of me going to her place during summer holidays, and she had this huge pantry and all these herbs. And whenever you had like a cold, for example, she had this, it's called the Indian gooseberry, which is like translated in from this it's called amla, but basically Indian gooseberry, which is very high in vitamin C. So she would just offer me to have that, and she just had like all these pickles and herbs that were like very like healing for, yeah, whether it's for cold or for your digestion. Like things like fennel, which you just chew
Oh,
in your mouth and it's good for your digestion. So things like that. And then also like I would see her in terms of her self-care. Like I would see her, she would have this like I don't know, it was like a copper or silver bowl, and she would have like fresh milk with rose petals and turmeric, and
oh,
she
beautiful.
she would use that for bathing. And so, and it's like, we talk about self-care and doing nourishment to our body these days, but this was all very naturally, nobody had those terms that time, but it was very naturally in her lifestyle. So I would see that, and I always noticed her
Mm.
like very like content and happy with just that present moment intentional rituals, which I would now call it, just in her life, just very naturally, right? And then with my mother, I would see her, pray every morning, which to me at that point would just like ground my nervous system. Just seeing her like light the incense and like say the prayer and that whole aroma and the her intention of doing that every day in the morning at a certain time, I would almost like look forward to that because it would just I would notice that if I was like a little frantic, would just ground my nervous system. So yeah, I have the same practice now. I don't do it every day, but I have a place that I go and, my altar, I go and pray, and I feel that same resonance of that energy. And my father, I think the memories that I have that I took on was that he would go to what we now have farmers market and very meticulously, get the vegetables that were in the season and the way he would choose them. So, I obviously got that from him. And also, like early on, he would be reading a lot of like self-development books and personal development. And so I would see myself leaning onto that wisdom, like even when I was like as young as in my teen years. The whole like, how do you maximize your potential, your human potential? Like I saw that wisdom early from the books he would read. And he was also like, he's an engineer by profession, but he would also be into alternative ways of healing. So like I had eczema growing up, and I was given homeopathy. And so he would read about homeopathy on the side to just like understand. And he was curious about all these alternative ways of healing. So I think all that came together in me in terms of like, you know, what else is there besides just the normal things that we are told of living our life, like all this wisdoms from my grandmother and my father and my mother. So it all just came together in my adult life, I would say.
That's so beautiful. I mean, it's
Thank you.
you came into so much of this information and remembrance of it organically,
Yeah.
and that's so beautiful. And then on top of that, you also sought out other ways to learn different things. So, which all of that together makes you an absolutely incredible healer and coach. And I think that that is I think when people can remember where they came from and can remember the importance of our families, even when we don't care for our families, but when we can remember all of these pieces that we learn from so many different avenues and so many different people and how beautiful the universe works is is truly what makes us um, have the ability to make this beautiful imprint on others and help them reignite their light. I think it's just wonderful. You're a beautiful, beautiful person, and I can see how you got that way. Um, so you mentioned, you work with women, and I'm sure sometimes you run into women that are stuck in survival mode, sometimes without even realizing it. Um, what are some subtle signs that a woman could be stuck, so to speak? Like, what could a potential client look like to you? What would her life look like that she would know, hey, I could really use connecting with you?
So a lot of my clients come to me for first for physical manifestations like hormones. Like I also run functional labs. So like hormones, fluctuations, or like digestion is off, or they don't know what to eat, they have some food sensitivities. But I think overall, in terms of the signs, would be they're I would say most of them are like leaning to over functioning in their lives, and that
Okay.
takes away from that feeling of waking up feeling radiant and alive. Like their sleep is disturbed, either they're waking up in the middle of the night or they're not able to fall asleep, or when they wake up in the morning they're tired and it takes them a while to get going for the day. So these are some of the normal, like not normal, I would say these are some of the signs that I see in most of them, like not being able to have like a routine that would help them like either get started for the day, or like a routine in the evening that would help them wind down from the day so they have a better day the next day. So those are the kind of things. And then there's just like the sense of overwhelm. Like there's so many things out there. What do I eat? What kind of workout do I do? Like what is this like, or anti-aging, like how do I improve my skin or my diet or my digestion or my sleep? Like there's always these questions, like there's so many things out there, so I help them sort of distill what is unique for them, what, because everyone is so different. Like everyone cannot do
Yes.
intermittent fasting. Then it depends on what phase of your cycle you are. Where are you? Are you close to menopause, perimenopause? Are you trying to have a child? So things like are customized based on where they are in their journey. And I also work with a lot of women who are now moving through transitions in their life, whether it's grief, trauma. Um, I've just finished studying. I'm doing a certificate on grief and trauma recovery. So, like if you're going through an emotional abusive, relationship, or you're getting out of one, or you are transitioning into a new chapter in your life, whether you
Absolutely.
moved or like divorce, or you're getting there or something like that. So those kind of transitions also, I have personal experience, and I also have modalities that I help the women that I work with, guide them through that.
Wow, I love that so much. One of the things I do hear people say when Ayurveda is brought up about as far as the eating, like the seasonal eating in the United States, a lot of times that you go to a grocery store and you have an array of every vegetable known to man, every fruit known to man. And what they often ask is how can I find out if it's like in season? Like so many of us are so far removed from the actual garden and farmers and all of that that they're like, how do I know that? Is that something someone could Google? Is there like some place they could look to find out what is in season? And would they look at their particular state, or would they look at just the United States or India or Asia? Like, how would they
So,
look that
yeah, that's a great question. I think what has happened is that, especially like when we live in colder climates, you don't have much growing, right? But usually, you want to eat what's closest to you because your microbiome is able to digest those, the nutrients from the local foods the best. Your microbiome needs the local foods. Wherever you growing up, like I wouldn't say like eat something that's coming from India or from New Zealand, but if it's cold and you don't have access to fresh seasonal foods, then you have to, sort of
out?
adjust. But usually, yeah, you can find this online as well. Like in winter, you want to have like, root vegetables, and like in
Okay.
spring, you have bitter greens and things like that. So, there is some of that information online you can find. But yeah, I also help my clients sort of identify what is it that will help them ground in the season, and what is it that they need to like detox. Like spring is a great time to detox, so what are the foods that you eat that time? Look around and see what is locally grown. Like a lot of time the grocery stores have local, but then that's more so in summer and spring. Unless you're living in a warm weather place like Austin, you have farmers market all year round. But yes, in California maybe as well. But yes, like where I live, where you live, it's a little bit challenging. But even then, you can do better by just leaning into like grounding foods. Like in fall, winter, you want to have more of the root vegetables and the squashes and things like that.
I love that. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, it's definitely come up multiple times. One of your most powerful messages is you can radically change your biology. Um, and can you explain what that means from your perspective? And have you seen someone be able to, um, while changing their insides, have that reflect in their outsides?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think when I say that, what I mean is like, sometimes people get, oh, this runs in my family,
Oh, yes.
heart disease or cancer, but then you can change
Identify.
your, yeah, you can change your biology based on the concept of epigenetics, because the genes do a certain thing, but it's the environment that pulls the trigger. And within the environment, it's not just it's what you're taking in. Again, going back to the foods, the lifestyle, um, how much, what are you drinking? Are you drinking alcohol once a week, twice a day? I mean, twice a week.
Well, some people, yeah.
Yeah. So, your lifestyle and environment pulls the trigger, right? So you have, and the way it is that you have that power to change it, and working with someone like me, or just like, there's so much information out there. So right from the time you wake up in the morning, what are you putting in your mouth? What is your sight? What are you taking in? Are you getting enough sun? Like the
Mhm.
simple things, right? So just following some morning routines, and making sure that you are, everything that you are taking in is intentional. Is it intentional, and to the point that after you take in, whether it's a food or information or a person you're meeting or um, the thoughts that you're, sitting in, is it going to help you feel sustainable in terms of how you want to feel for the long term? If not, then, you want to like interrupt that pattern. Like, are you stressed out and you're picking up a box of cookies? Do you know like what you want to feel with that? You're leaning into that because you have a craving, you're leaning into comfort, but how is
Okay.
it going to make you feel after that? Is it going to shift anything for you in the long term? Maybe not. It's going to actually
Mhm.
increase the problem. So just making those choices intentional that are aligned with how you want to feel. If you want to feel worse, then yeah, you are not able to change your biology. But if you have the intention to feel good for yourself, and so you can feel good for your family and whoever you interact with. So the choices that you take in and make in the morning, right from the time you wake up, have to be intentional.
I love that so much. And I feel that. And, you know, with some of my Reiki clients, I've had a couple clients that have wanted to come back like every couple of weeks. And, and, usually, especially if it's their first time seeing me, I'm like, I want you to have like a good 90 days to digest, process everything that went, everything we removed, everything we put back in. But what I found with these particular clients is I said, I'm not trying to be difficult, but you have to be a willing participant in your healing process. I love to hold space for you and I love to be able to channel healing energy and all of that. But if you aren't willing to do your part in it, it really doesn't, in the long term, do a lot for you to
Right,
keep
right.
coming, you know?
It is like I say to my clients, it's a co-creation. Like
Yes,
I
yes.
can give you all the information, but if you're not putting in the work, then you're not going to get the result, right? And I think that another important question you asked that, like, does it make a difference? I think you asked, and how the person shows
Like,
up.
have you been able to see how it, like with a client you've had, have you been able to see how them changing their insides or the way that they take
Yeah,
in things
yeah, yeah, for
change on
sure.
their outside?
Yeah,
And what would be an example?
I think it's like they have a different way of thinking. Like even like something like intuition. I have a chapter on that. Like a lot of people don't know how to access that. And it's not something you can be like, okay, I'm just going to meditate and listen to it. No, but it also depends on what you're eating, how you're living your life every day, what are the practices that you're doing, how much time you're spending in nature, how is your digestion, because your intuition is related to your gut. If you're not taking in the right foods for or anti-inflammatory, the spices, the herbs, all of that, you're not going once a day at least. If
Mm-hmm.
you're having bowel movements twice, that's great. Then your intuition is going to be blocked. Um, because our brain is connected to our heart and our gut. It's like through the vagus nerve, and so for people to be in that place of like really where the nervous system is relaxed and calm, everything is connected. What you take in, how you live your life. And I think that's where the concept of spirituality comes in. A lot of people feel like I'm going to meditate and I'm going to, read certain text and I'm spiritual. But it's really how you show up for yourself and for other people, how you make other people feel, right? So I have seen those shifts in my clients. I think I went on a tangent with that, but what I've seen
No.
is that people start taking different decisions. Like they change their career. Sometimes they start pursuing a deeper passion. Sometimes they have relationships shifts. Sometimes they find a new relationship, or they change their career paths completely. So it opens up a different way of thinking for them. It expands their consciousness, right? So there is that deeper transformation that just happens because you're not like you're not blocked. Like, and I think you understand that because you offer Reiki. Your channels are opened up by the way of your lifestyle.
Yeah. And I think it starts to become you're working with your body instead of against it,
Right.
right? because it causes that dissonance sometimes when we're if we're constantly giving it all of the wrong things, like why wouldn't it not cooperate? You
Right.
know?
I think it's important to say that there's also like you don't want to be because I've been there, you don't want to be like too rigid as well. It's okay to be balanced.
Yes.
But there are
Yeah.
certain things that, certain things that you can do that can have, like you might say to yourself, oh, I'm just going to do it once in a while, like alcohol, but that will have a long-term effect. So there are certain things you have to take that with a pinch of salt, but I think balance is still important so that you don't stress yourself too much in the bargain.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you blend nutrition, mindset, biohacking, neuroscience, ancient wisdom, and you have all of these different modalities. So when a client presents to you, how do you decide what specifically that client needs to start with first? Do you have like a hierarchy, so to speak, of, you know, like when I have a client, if a client comes to me and they don't feel safe in their environment, I feel like if we don't address that first, like it's much harder to get anywhere else. Like, is there a certain thing that you go to first?
Yeah, again, it depends on every individual. So I do
Sure.
have like an intake form. One is more like a health history, and then some who just want to come for life mentoring and coaching or executive coaching. So then I have those kind of goals. So yeah, for example, through the form, then I know whether they are safe or they need other
I
help,
got
or if
you.
is it out of my scope in terms of mental health and all of those things. So that is obviously a consideration, or they have had trauma. So I do offer, I have training in trauma. And so I do offer, those kind of practices based on where they are in their journey. And if they're coming for specifically health related, optimizing their health, then there is a different path we begin with where nutrition always is the first. But if they're coming to me for a life coaching goal, then we have a different path over there. We begin with like, what are your values? Like, what is it that you really want?
I got you.
So then we define a different goal setting. So sometimes they want both. And so,
Hmm.
so based on like the individual, it's so customized to like, you, like, what is it that you need in this time? And then I can just create that path for them.
Got you. That's awesome, and you're right. It is so client specific for that. There's not a cardboard cutout of every client that comes to me. This is what we have to address first. This is what we address in the middle, and go from there. Sometimes I hear clients talk about, well, I want to be able to come and like with one appointment, I want to be like good to go, like 30 minutes tops. Like that's all I got, and I want you to fix me. Um, So my response a lot of that time is it probably took you more than 30 minutes to get to where you're at. Um, I feel like it's important to be patient with yourself, um, and to give yourself grace in these things. Do you feel that way as well with your clients?
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, sometimes if they just say that, I know what I'm doing, I just need some supplement recommendations because I do that as well. So I'm like, that's fine. But if it's like shifting a certain habit or like getting into a new way of living or incorporating a new lifestyle with diet or, or a mindset shift, then you definitely need, at least minimum like 6 sessions to have that built in. But I work with clients anywhere from like 3 to 6 to 12. And a lot of the times when they move through, like especially the physical, then they want to move to the, the emotional, the energetic, the spiritual. So we keep working for like months. Um, because what happens is, like I said, when your physical body opens up, the channels open up, then you want to be like, okay, what else can I do? Like, so yeah, it again depends. But yeah, definitely for long-term transformation, it's not like you're going for a massage and you're done. You want to have
Right.
um,
Yes, yes, definitely some
and
grace.
I have my own coaches and mentors who when I find the right ones, I will work with them. We all need that support.
Yes, I'm so glad you said that. That's so great. I've had people come to me and say, "Well, you know what? It looks like you're a Reiki master and you're a nurse and you have a business and so you've got like everything, taken care of and everything goes great for you all the time. And I'm like, I'm sorry, where did you read that everything goes great for me all the time? Because that's not exactly how it works. Or they'll say something like, I bet you've healed everything already. Like that's how cool does it feel to have healed everything? And I don't believe we get to a spot where all my healing and learning is done. Like, and I feel like if you do, then you might be missing something. You might be missing an opportunity to grow. I know in all of I mean, I've been doing Reiki for over 20 years and even doing it on myself. So often there's times where I heal something really big and I'm like, yes, awesome, perfect, everything's great. And then a couple days later, once I've integrated and calibrated, all of a sudden we just opened a new spot that I didn't even know was there. And I'm like, dang, I was so close.
Hmm. That-
So I try to let them know that, sometimes we can't see everything that we have the opportunity to learn from or grow from, which is a good thing, really, because I think if we were able to see every little thing we could grow or learn about within us, that
Right.
it might be a bit overwhelming. And to really just that's why I named my business Angel Reiki Journey, because life is a journey. It truly is a journey. And I don't feel like we have an end destination. Like I don't feel like, by the time you're 52, you need to have it all figured out and you need to have everything healed and everything done so you can just chill the rest of your life. There's so much more to it. But in the healing, the more healing you do, the better ability you have to adapt to those healings and get more out of them has been my experience. I wanted to ask you, looking back on your own transformation, from having moments of exhaustion, burnout, those kinds of things, and then into deep alignment. Do you remember a moment or a roundabout time when you felt like, I feel more aligned? I feel like this is more of who I am meant to be.
I guess yes. When I figured out like maybe this is the kind of, these are the kind of foods that help my digestion, like simple things like that. But I also feel like relational learning has also been a big lesson for me in this lifetime. So, like the kind of relationships I attract and what does it tell about me? Like, I know that I've always known, but now I know through therapy and my own modalities that I'm a very sensitive, highly empathetic individual. So, how do I balance that by not attracting those, relationships which can take on more energy from me and leave me depleted? So that is also alignment, right? Because
Yes.
you can eat all the foods that will help you stay optimized and anti-aging practices and all of that. Manage your stress is a big thing as well. But what is feeding into that stress is also your relational dynamics. And so just understanding what works for you there as well also has brought me in alignment. And I think it's a journey. I'm always learning. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
2025 has been a year of lessons.
Amen to that. We could go down a rabbit hole with that one. For sure. I could not agree more. What do you feel like? Was there something that you found surprising about yourself along your journey and your path so far, I should say?
Rising. I I think I just have been very open, I realized, to learning in
Mm,
general. Like that's one of my values, the love for learning. But then I also feel like I don't know if it's surprising, but I've realized that, like they say, that the universe gives you what you're capable of handling, right? And so I keep getting that, like, is it gonna get better? Like, I get a lot of like,
Amen.
Okay, and then people are telling me you're strong, like you're really strong, and and I hear that, and I feel that I have a lot of strength in me through the work that I've been doing and all of that, but even otherwise on a soul level. So that is something that has been a realization that like the universe is always teaching you something, and if you're open to those lessons, then you just get better in managing what life is throwing at you. So I don't know if it has surprised me, but it's just humbling and helps you move through the transitions of life when you have that awareness.
Absolutely. And I hear that a lot too. And sometimes my response wants to be like, okay, but how do I don't want to be so strong.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm tired of being strong.
Yeah, like, do I get to like click the button like, okay, I'm good. I'm
Yeah,
good.
so talking about that, and I bring that up in my book, which is Radiant Rituals, the wisdom from Ayurveda and ancient wisdoms for like deep self-care and inner strength. That's really what the title is going to be. But I also talk about that how where was I going with this? Like how self-care, deep self-care, when I say that, is that especially as women, because I work with
Mhm.
women and talking about like what we were talking about, like the strong, I think we have to balance that feminine side of us
Yes.
when the strength is making us, sort of be doing a lot of like the masculine energy at the forefront of like holding everything together. And so I also then have been very conscious about focusing on the deeper self-care to, of joy and pleasure, and
Mm.
how do I embody that for um, keeping myself in the flow and the feminine, so
Yes.
that has also been one of my learnings.
And when does your book come out?
So the book will come out actually this time next year.
Wonderful. And tell us the title one more time.
Radiant Rituals.
Oh, that sounds beautiful. And as far as to get that book when it comes out, would we be able to go to your website?
Yeah, I will have a
Amazon?
page on my website for, yeah, of course, Amazon will be one of them, and I will share that information. But yeah, follow me on my website and sign up for the newsletter so you can be in the loop when
And
it's up.
what is your website address?
It's holisticprana.com.
Okay, awesome. And are you on Instagram or LinkedIn?
Yes, I'm on Instagram with the same holistic prana, and on LinkedIn as well with my name, Radhika Mukhija.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
For our listeners, do you have one daily practice or even something very simple that you believe every woman should begin doing today?
So my favorite practice, again, it's from Ayurveda. It's the one that it's called abhyanga, which is basically nothing but self oil massage. And
Oh,
of
okay.
course, I live in a very dry climate, so I feel like I do this all year round. It's
Yes.
also like a self-care practice. It's the warmth of the oil that soothes my skin, but also like opens up channels and, activates lubrication for the joints. It also like, you're touching yourself, you're releasing oxytocin. And it's just a simple way to ground myself. So I like to do that either after a shower or before sleeping at night. And you can use anything like an almond oil or sesame oil, or, you have oils which are infused with herbs these days. So whatever feels good to you. But yeah, that's my favorite practice that I recommend.
I love that. And especially, yeah, winter time here in the Midwest too. Everybody's skin is screaming for some type of moisture
Yeah.
for sure. Um, so, and finally, if your mother could see the healing work that you're offering women today, what do you feel like she would say to you?
Oh my God. um, she would be proud. I guess she would be happy. She would be thankful because I think um, she didn't have that support for herself.
Yes, I think that is so beautiful. And I couldn't agree more. I think she would be incredibly proud of you. And I think she would be so delightful to have you in her corner rooting for her. And so I feel like so many of the women that come to you, I'm sure, feel that way as well and feel like, oh, I have her like in my corner, like she's my cheerleader, And I think that that's incredible. And not everyone has the ability to relay that to people and to give them that sense of, I truly see you and I truly want to be there for you. And, and that your heart really is in the work that you do. And your goal truly is to make a difference in these women's lives. So I thank you so much, you sweet soul, for joining us in this beautiful conversation. I hope that you felt Radhika's wisdom land softly within you like a gentle reminder that you are allowed to slow down. You're allowed to nourish your body, to receive support, and to step into a life that feels aligned and deeply yours. If today's episode resonated, please share it with a friend, a sister, or anyone who is ready to begin their own healing journey. And take a moment to leave a review. Every share that you do of the podcast, every review, every word helps spread this work to more women who are craving this kind of soulful connection. If you'd like to explore healing sessions, angel Reiki sessions, or the programs I offer to help women reconnect with their essence and return to who they truly are, you can find everything at angelreikijourney.com. And of course, all of Radhika's links, her resources, will be in the show notes. I encourage you to connect with her, go on her website, follow her work, sign up for her newsletter, and feel the depth of support she brings into this world. Until next time, may you stay grounded, guided, and connected to the light that is within you. I'm sending you so much love and so many hugs. This is Justina, and you're listening to Sacred Soul Sisters podcast. Have a great day, guys. Bye.
Hi, before you go, hey, I just want to say thank you again. I'm so grateful you're here. Thank you for sharing this space with me today. And I hope that you can feel the sense of community. Every time you listen to one of these episodes, you're in community with not only me, but everybody else that's listening too. And in that beautiful frequency that's created, we get to have our hearts infused with the love and peace and the hope that we have for each other. So thank you so much for that. So as you move back into your day, I invite you to take a moment, just soften your shoulders, breathe into your heart, and notice what shifted for you in this conversation. How do you feel? I hope amazing. And if this episode resonated, please follow the Sacred Soul Sisters podcast. Take a minute to leave a review. Your words help this healing ripple reach other beautiful souls who are quietly longing for support, remembrance, and community. And stay connected. You can visit my website, angelreikijourney.com. You can book an Angel Reiki session there. You can see some of the other events that we have going on. And if you scroll to the bottom, sign up for the newsletter where I share soulful reflections, upcoming offers, and gentle invitations to reconnect with yourself. You can also find me on Instagram at Angel Reiki Journey for inspiration. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm over there too. And remember, you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to carry all this alone. You are deeply supported. You are divinely guided, and you are worthy of ease and joy and magnetizing moments in your life. And I'm so excited for that. Until we meet again, take care of your beautiful heart and know that it's okay to choose yourself. It's okay to offer self-love to yourself, and it's okay to receive the love and abundance this universe wants to give you. So I will see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.